All right, problem number two. Problem number two, we have this expression here, and we're asked to express it as a single number. So let me see. A hint for this one, I would say, first of all, remember your order of operations. Some of you may have learned PEMDAS, PEMDAS, and this is just a way of remembering what order to do the operations. So P represents parentheses, so make sure you do any operations within the parentheses first, and then E represents exponents, and exponents would be like 2 squared or 5 to the third. So make sure you do the exponent. This is the exponent. So make sure you do any exponents second. We don't have any of those in this case, and then do multiplication and division. And then the A and the S represent addition, addition and subtraction. Okay? So do that last. Okay? So do parentheses first, then exponents, then multiplication, division, and then addition and subtraction. So that's the first thing you have to remember, is your order of operations. And another thing you need to know to be able to solve this is how to multiply a negative times a negative. Okay, whenever you multiply a negative times a negative, you get a positive number. If you multiply a negative times a positive, you're going to get a negative number. Okay? So you need to know that as well. And then you can solve the problem. Alright? So, let me see. Let me go on with the solution here. I'm going to kind of get rid of some of these notes here so that I can write right underneath the expression itself. So I think it'll be a little more organized that way. Alright? In fact, I might pick up a different pen here. Okay, so PEMDAS. Remember PEMDAS. I'll write it up here just so we can refer back to it. Okay, so that gives you the order of operations. So let's see, do we have any parentheses? Well, I see lots of parentheses here, but basically they're not around any operation, they're just around the negative 2. Okay, so that the negative doesn't look like a minus sign. So if we didn't have the parentheses, this would look like a negative 2 minus 2 instead of a negative 2 times a negative 2. So that's what the parentheses are doing here. They really aren't enclosing any operations, so we don't really have to worry about P, about parentheses. There's no exponents. So the next thing we need to do is multiplication and division. So I see a lot of multiplication. I see negative 2 times negative 2, and negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. And here we have negative 2 4 times, multiplied by itself 4 times. And here we have negative 2 multiplied by itself 5 times. Okay? So let's start with the multiplication. Let me just kind of draw a circle around this. Negative 2 times negative 2 is going to give you a positive 4, right? Because negative times negative is a positive. Alright, and here we have negative 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. So, first of all, we just look at 2 of them. Negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. So this 2 is our positive 4, and then we still have a negative 2 here. Alright, so then we have negative 2 times a positive 4, so we end up with a negative 8. Okay? And let's put that in parentheses, and let's put the plus sign down here. And let's also put this negative 2 down here too. So far we've got a negative 2. I'm just dropping that straight down. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and then plus a negative 8. And then let's keep going. Let's look at the next set of multiplication here. So now we have negative 2 times itself 4 times. And we know negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4, so we could look at this as a positive 4, and this set of 2 negative 2's as a positive 4. So we really have 4 times 4, which is a positive 16. Okay? So we can add that to our result. And then finally over here, let's drop the plus sign down. We have negative 2 times negative 2, which is a 4. Okay? And then we have this negative 2 times negative 2, which is a 4. And then we have another negative 2. So we have 16 times negative 2, which is a negative 32. Okay? Alright, so we've got it simplified a little more. I'm going to put parentheses around the negative. And so now we've got it narrowed down to 5 numbers, and we can just add them up. Okay? So if I would probably just, take them in pairs. Negative 2 plus 4 gives you a positive 2. Negative 8 plus 16, if I add those up, I'd get a positive 8, right? And then we have this negative 32. We'll just drop that down because we don't have anything else to add to it. Alright, so 2 plus 8 is 10, and if we add a positive 10 to negative 32, we'll get a negative 22. And that is the answer.